The underestimated fleet. The holographic display flickered in the dimly lit war room as Admiral Voss slammed his fist on the table. Earth's Defense Council fell silent. On the screen, another human colony burned, the third this month. "We can't keep retreating," Admiral Voss said, his voice tight with restrained fury. "The Craxian Empire destroys everything they touch. We lose another outpost, another million lives." General Santos, her face lined with exhaustion, leaned forward. "What choice do we have? Their ships outmatch ours in every category. Faster, better armed, superior shields. We've lost 40% of our fleet." The silence that followed was deafening. Earth had spent decades expanding outward, establishing peaceful colonies across nearby star systems. No one expected the arrival of the Craxians, a ruthlessly efficient militaristic empire from the galactic center, expanding outward and conquering everything in their path. Dr. Eliza Reyes, head of Earth's Advanced Weapons Research, had remained quiet throughout the heated discussion. Now she cleared her throat. "I may have something," she said, her voice surprisingly calm. "Project Sparrow." The others turned to her, hope and skepticism mixing in their expressions. "You said that was years from completion," Admiral Voss said. Dr. Reyes nodded. "The finalized version, yes. But we have prototypes, 30 of them, that can be deployed immediately." She tapped a command on her tablet, and the hologram shifted to show a small, oddly shaped ship. It looked crude compared to Earth's standard military vessels, asymmetrical, with exposed conduits and what appeared to be inefficient thruster placements. General Santos frowned. "That's it. That's supposed to save us from extinction." "Appearances can be deceiving," Dr. Reyes replied with the hint of a smile. "And in this case, appearances are precisely the point." Captain Maya Chen stared at the ship before her, trying to hide her disappointment. After years of distinguished service in Earth's fleet, she'd been selected to lead a vital mission, potentially humanity's last stand. And this was her command. "You've got to be kidding," her first officer, Commander Jackson, muttered beside her. The hangar contained 30 identical vessels, each barely larger than a standard shuttle. They looked like they'd been cobbled together from spare parts. Asymmetrical hulls with exposed wiring, mismatched plating, and what appeared to be outdated propulsion systems. "Captain Chen." Dr. Rice approached, tablet in hand. "I see you're admiring the sparrows. Is that what we're calling them?" Chen asked, raising an eyebrow. "Small, unassuming, but far more capable than they appear," Dr. Rice explained. "The Craxians have superior technology and overwhelming force. We can't match them head-on. So we're sending out junk heaps," Commander Jackson said. Dr. Rice's eyes flashed. "Look closer, Commander." She led them toward the nearest ship and placed her hand on a scanner hidden among what appeared to be exposed circuitry. A panel slid open, revealing a cockpit unlike anything Chen had ever seen. Sleek, advanced control systems that definitely didn't match the ship's exterior. "What you're seeing outside is a carefully crafted illusion," Dr. Rice explained. "Beneath this unassuming shell is our most advanced technology: quantum computing cores, adaptive metamaterial structures, and something we call shadow field generators." Captain Chen ran her fingers over the controls, feeling the surge of excitement. "You want the Craxians to underestimate us." "Precisely," Dr. Rice nodded. "The outer hull is designed to appear primitive on scans and visual inspection. But these ships are faster and more maneuverable than anything we've ever built. The shadow field doesn't just hide you from sensors. It can manipulate how energy interacts with the ship." Commander Jackson whistled low. "A Trojan horse." 30 Trojan horses," Dr. Rice corrected. "And you leave tomorrow." High Commander Vrex of the Craxian Empire stood on the command deck of his flagship, the Inevitable Conquest. His scaled skin gleamed under the blue lights as he studied the tactical display showing yet another successful planetary subjugation. High Commander, his second, Sub-Commander Drask, approached with a data tablet. Our forward scouts have detected unusual movement from Earth's forces. Vrex took the tablet, his four-fingered hand easily manipulating the controls. They're sending ships. After we decimated their outer fleet. Yes, but unusual ships, Drask said, hesitation in his voice. Our analysis suggests they may be some kind of primitive prototypes, or perhaps civilian vessels retrofitted for military use. Vrex laughed, a harsh sound that made subordinates on the bridge flinch. How desperate they must be. First, they send diplomats begging for mercy, and now they scrape the bottom of their shipyards. He handed the tablet back. Destroy them, of course, but capture one intact if possible. Their desperation amuses me. Yes, High Commander. Drask bowed slightly and retreated. Vrex turned back to the viewport, gazing at the stars. The humans had been unexpectedly resilient, but ultimately predictable. They relied on outdated concepts like diplomacy and ethical warfare, weaknesses the Craxian Empire had evolved beyond centuries ago. Deploy the third battle group, he ordered. Let's give these primitive ships a proper Craxian welcome. Captain Chen's heart raced as the 30 Sparrow ships approached the Craxian forward fleet. Each Sparrow had a crew of just 5. Herself and 4 specialists trained in the ship's revolutionary systems. All ships reporting ready, Captain, her communications officer reported. Remember, Chen transmitted to all ships. Maintain formation and keep up the appearance of struggling. Let them think we're barely holding these ships together. The plan was audacious. Approach the Craxian fleet as if they were a desperate final attempt by Earth to stop the invasion. The ships were programmed to emit occasional energy fluctuations, mimicking systems failures and poor construction. Craxian vessels adjusting course. Lieutenant Park reported from the sensor station. They're moving to intercept. Minimal deployment. Looks like they're only sending light cruisers. They're not even bothering with their main battle group, Commander Jackson noted. They don't see us as a threat. Chen nodded, tension visible in her jaw. Good. That's exactly what we want. The Craxian ships approached, sleek, dangerous predators compared to the apparent junkyard fleet of Earth. A communication request flashed on Chen's console. Put it through, she ordered. A Craxian officer appeared on screen, mandibles clicking in what Chen recognized as amusement. Earth vessels, this is Sub-Commander Drask of the Craxian Empire. Your resistance is both futile and amusing. Are these truly the best ships your species could muster? Chen put on her best expression of grim determination. We will defend our home with whatever we have. Admirable but misguided, Drask replied. Power down your vessels and surrender. The High Commander might find use for your kind as laborers. We would rather die fighting, Chen replied, cutting the transmission. She turned to Commander Jackson. They're in position. All ships, execute Mockingbird protocol. Across the 30 Sparrow ships, crews activated the vessel's true capabilities. The seemingly exposed conduits and haphazard components began to shift and realign. Within the ships, quantum processors spun up to full capacity. Shadow fields active, Commander Jackson reported. Weapons systems online. The Craxian vessels began firing, powerful energy weapons lancing toward the Earth fleet, only to pass harmlessly through what appeared to be empty space. They're confused, Lieutenant Park reported, unable to keep the excitement from his voice. Their targeting systems are trying to compensate. Chen leaned forward. Now, Sparrows, show them what Earth can really do. The 30 ships suddenly accelerated to speeds the Craxians had never recorded from human vessels. The shadow fields bent light and energy around them, making them seem to flicker in and out of existence. To Craxian sensors, it would appear as if the ships were teleporting, vanishing from one location and appearing in another. Target their weapons systems and engines, Chen ordered. Precision strikes only. The Sparrows released a barrage of quantum-tipped missiles that phased through Craxian shields as if they weren't there. The seemingly unstoppable Craxian cruisers suddenly found themselves crippled, weapons disabled, engines failing. What is happening? Sub-Commander Drask demanded as his bridge erupted in chaos. How are they doing this? Where are they? His tactical officer stared at displays showing impossible readings. Sir, they're using technology we've never encountered. Our shields can't stop their weapons. Drask slammed a fist onto his command console. Notify High Commander Vrex. We need the main battle group here now. On the inevitable conquest, High Commander Vrex received the distress call with disbelief. Impossible, he growled, watching as the supposedly primitive Earth vessels dismantled his third battle group with ease. This is some kind of trick. His intelligence officer approached cautiously. High Commander, we've analyzed their energy signatures. These ships are disguised to appear primitive, but they're using technology that rivals or exceeds our own. Vrex's eyes narrowed to slits. The humans deceived us. His voice was dangerously quiet. They wanted us to underestimate them. Yes, High Commander. Prepare the entire fleet, Vrex ordered, his voice rising to a roar. I want those Earth ships destroyed. No captures. No mercy. Total annihilation. As orders spread throughout the massive Craxian Armada, Vrex stared at the tactical display. For the first time since the campaign against Earth began, he felt something unfamiliar, a flicker of doubt. The humans had proven far more cunning than he had anticipated, and if these were merely prototypes, what else might they be hiding? Captain Chen watched as the crippled Craxian cruisers drifted, powerless. Not a single sparrow had been lost. Captain, Lieutenant Park called out, we're detecting massive energy signatures. The entire Craxian main fleet is mobilizing. Commander Jackson looked to Chen. They know we tricked them now. Chen nodded, a small smile playing at the corners of her mouth. Good. Send the signal to Earth. Tell them Phase 1 is complete. And Phase 2? Jackson asked. Chen's smile grew wider. Now we show them what these ships can really do. As the massive Craxian battle fleet approached, the 30 Sparrow ships formed a precise formation. To an observer, they might have looked like tiny birds facing down an approaching storm. But Captain Chen knew better. The real battle was just beginning, and Earth finally had hope. Humanity's vengeance. The 30 Sparrow ships hung in the void, dwarfed by the approaching armada of Craxian warships. On the tactical display of Captain Chen's vessel, the enemy fleet appeared as a mass of red indicators, hundreds of ships ranging from swift destroyers to massive dreadnoughts. They've committed everything, Commander Jackson observed, his voice tight. The entire invasion force. Lieutenant Park looked up from his station. All Sparrow captains reporting ready, ma'am. Shadow field generators at full capacity. Captain Chen nodded, her face illuminated by the glow of her control panel. They think they understand our capabilities now. They're wrong. The first wave of Craxian fighters launched, followed by volleys of energy weapons fire that cut through space toward the tiny Earth fleet. Chen's hands flew across her controls. Execute scatter protocol, she ordered calmly. The 30 Sparrow ships suddenly burst apart into what appeared to be thousands of smaller vessels, a swarm that spread across the battlefield like a cloud of insects. The Craxian weapons fire passed harmlessly through most of the targets, because most weren't actually there. Shadow field projections at maximum, Lieutenant Park reported. Sensor ghosts deployed. Chen smiled grimly. The shadow fields weren't just defensive technology. They could project convincing holographic duplicates of the Sparrows, complete with false energy signatures. For every real ship, there were now dozens of phantom vessels, indistinguishable from the real thing. They can't target what they can't find, she said. All ships begin Hornet Protocol. High Commander Vrex stared in disbelief as the human fleet seemingly multiplied before his eyes. Impossible, he snarled. There were only 30 ships. His tactical officer frantically worked at his station. Our sensors can't distinguish between the real vessels and what appear to be projections, High Commander. They all register as solid objects with identical energy signatures. Fire on all of them. Vrex roared, slamming his fist onto the armrest of his command chair. I don't care how many resources it takes. Obliterate every single one. The Craxian fleet unleashed a barrage that would have annihilated planets. Energy beams and explosive projectiles pour through space, and mostly through empty vacuum as the phantom ships dissolved when hit, only to reappear elsewhere. All while the actual Sparrow vessels darted between the Craxian formations with impossible agility, striking with precision before vanishing again. "Sir, we've lost contact with destroyers in Sector 7, an officer reported. And Sector 3. And Sector 5 as well." Vrex's eyes narrowed dangerously. "Explain." "The human ships appear to be targeting our communication arrays first. We're losing coordination across the fleet." On the tactical display, sections of the Craxian fleet were going dark as communication was severed. Without central command, the disciplined Craxian war machine was fragmenting into isolated battle groups. Sub-Commander Drask approached cautiously. "High Commander, perhaps we should consider a strategic withdrawal to regroup and analyze this new technology." Vrex spun around, his clawed hand closing around Drask's throat. "The Craxian Empire does not retreat," he hissed, before releasing his subordinate. "Dispatch our elite squadrons. I want their real ships identified and destroyed." Aboard her Sparrow, Captain Chen watched the seemingly unstoppable Craxian fleet descend into chaos. Separated battle groups were firing on shadows while the real Sparrows methodically disabled their engines and weapon systems. "Captain," Lieutenant Park called out, "they're adapting. Advanced fighter squadrons are using wide-spectrum sensors that might be able to detect fluctuations in our shadow fields." Chen had expected this. The Craxians weren't a galactic power by accident. They were intelligent and resourceful. "All ships, prepare for Phase 3, she ordered. "Deploy quantum resonators." From each Sparrow ship, small devices no larger than a human hand were launched into specific coordinates within the Craxian fleet formation. To Craxian sensors, they would appear as mere debris. "Resonators in position," Commander Jackson confirmed. "Energy buildup beginning." Chen took a deep breath. This was the moment Dr. Rice had warned might be dangerous even for the Sparrow ships. "All vessels, maximum shadow field protection," she ordered. "Activate resonance cascade in 3, 2, 1. The quantum resonators activated simultaneously, establishing connections with each other across vast distances. Between them, space itself seemed to shudder. The carefully calculated pattern created a massive energy web that disrupted the Craxian ship's power systems. Across the enemy fleet, lights flickered and died. Weapons went offline. Shields failed. Propulsion systems stalled. The mighty warships drifted helplessly, trapped in the quantum resonance field that rendered their advanced technology useless. High Commander Vrex clung to his command chair as emergency lighting bathed the bridge in an eerie red glow. Around him, control panels sparked and died. "What is happening?" he demanded, though his authoritative tone was undermined by the unmistakable edge of fear in his voice. "Unknown energy field, High Commander," his science officer replied, working frantically at the one console still partially functional. "It's creating a quantum disruption that's incompatible with our power systems." "Counter it," Vrex ordered. "We can't, sir. Our systems are completely unresponsive. The field appears to be calibrated specifically to target Craxian technology." This revelation hit Vrex like a physical blow. The humans hadn't just developed advanced chips. They had studied Craxian technology in detail and developed a perfect counter to it. "How?" he whispered. "How could they have developed this?" On his partially functioning display, he watched as the human ships, now clearly visible without their phantom duplicates, moved methodically through his helpless fleet, disabling engines and weapon systems with surgical precision. The Craxian Empire had conquered 17 species across 3 spiral arms of the galaxy. None had presented more than token resistance. The humans, with their inferior numbers and supposedly inferior technology, should have been easy prey. Instead, they had turned the tables completely. Transmission cut through the static on the command deck's main screen. Captain Chen's face appeared, calm and determined. "High Commander Vrex," she said, "your fleet is disabled. Your ships are at our mercy." Vrex snarled. "Finish it then. Destroy us if you can." "That's not our way," Chen replied. "Unlike the Craxian Empire, we don't believe in unnecessary destruction. You will surrender your fleet and withdraw from all human territories immediately." "Or what?" Vrex challenged. "Or we will demonstrate what our ships can really do when we're not holding back," Chen said simply. "The quantum resonance field is currently calibrated to disable. It can just as easily be recalibrated to destroy." To emphasize her point, a single Craxian destroyer at the edge of the fleet suddenly imploded, crushed by forces that defied conventional physics. Vrex stared at the screen, mandibles twitching in suppressed rage. "You deceived us. Made us believe your technology was primitive." "You deceived yourselves," Chen corrected. "You saw what you expected to see, a weaker species you could easily conquer. You never bothered to consider that appearances can be misleading." The High Commander's claws dug into his armrest. "The Craxian Empire does not surrender." "Then the Craxian Empire ends today," Chen said evenly. "You have 1 hour to decide. Surrender and live, or force us to destroy you completely." The transmission cut off, leaving Vrex in the dim red glow of his failing flagship. Dr. Reyes paced the war room back on Earth, her eyes fixed on the holographic display showing the disabled Craxian fleet. "It worked," Admiral Voss said, awe evident in his voice. "Your sparrows actually did it." "The ships worked," Dr. Reyes corrected. "But it was Captain Chen and her crews who truly made this victory possible." General Santos studied the tactical readouts. "The Craxians still haven't responded to our ultimatum. 45 minutes remaining." "They will," Admiral Voss said with certainty. "Their pride is strong, but their survival instinct is stronger." The door to the war room slid open, and a junior officer rushed in. "Admiral, we're receiving transmissions from across the galaxy. Other species subjugated by the Craxian Empire. They're rising up, attacking Craxian outposts and vessels." Dr. Reyes nodded slowly. "Word has spread. The myth of Craxian invincibility has been shattered." "And Earth is responsible," General Santos added, a hint of pride in her voice. In the final minutes before the ultimatum expired, the Craxian fleet received orders from High Command itself, the Council of Nine who ruled from the Craxian homeworld. They had reviewed the situation and made their decision. The Craxian Empire would withdraw from human space. As Captain Chen watched, the enemy ships slowly powered back up as the quantum resonance field was selectively deactivated. One by one, they limped away, forming a retreat formation under the watchful eyes of the Sparrow fleet. "They're actually leaving," Commander Jackson said, disbelief evident in his voice. "They're retreating today," Chen corrected. "But they'll be back eventually, with new technology, new strategies. And we'll be ready," Lieutenant Park added confidently. Chen nodded. "Inform Earth that the Craxian threat has been neutralized." For now. As the last enemy ships disappeared into faster-than-light transit, Chen allowed herself a moment of genuine relief. Her crew broke into cheers and congratulations, the tension of the past hours finally breaking. "Captain," her communications officer called out, "incoming transmission from Earth. Admiral Voss wants to speak with you." Chen straightened her uniform. "Put him through." Admiral Voss appeared on screen, his normally stern expression replaced by one of profound respect. "Captain Chen, congratulations. You and your fleet have achieved what many thought impossible." "Thank you, Admiral. But this was a team effort, from Dr. Reyes and her engineers to every crew member aboard these ships." "Indeed," Voss agreed. "And this is just the beginning. The Sparrow prototypes have proven their worth beyond our wildest expectations. Full production begins immediately." Chen raised an eyebrow. "Sir, the galaxy now knows that humanity isn't the easy target the Craxians believed us to be," Voss explained. "But there are other threats out there, other empires that might see us as prey. The sparrows have given us a fighting chance. And a reputation, Chen added thoughtfully. The species that defeated the undefeatable Craxian Empire. Precisely. Representatives from a dozen non-Craxian worlds have already requested diplomatic relations. It seems our victory has elevated Earth's status considerably. Chen looked around at her bridge crew, humans who had faced overwhelming odds and emerged victorious through ingenuity and determination. "What are your orders, Admiral?" she asked. "Bring your fleet home, Captain," Voss replied. "You've earned a hero's welcome." And then we prepare for what comes next. As the transmission ended, Chen gazed out at the stars. The universe had suddenly become both more dangerous and more full of possibility. "Set course for Earth," she ordered. "Let's go home." 6 months later, Captain Chen stood on the observation deck of Earth's newly constructed space station, watching as a new fleet of Sparrow-class vessels departed on their maiden voyage. No longer disguised as primitive prototypes, these ships gleamed with power and purpose. Commander Jackson joined her at the viewport. "Hard to believe it's been only half a year since we faced the Craxian fleet." "Much has changed," Chen agreed. Indeed, Earth had transformed. The victory over the Craxians had united humanity as never before. Resources once spent on internal conflicts were now directed toward defense and exploration. The advanced technology developed for the Sparrows had spread to civilian applications, accelerating progress across all fields. More significantly, Earth was no longer alone. Delegations from dozens of previously unknown species had established diplomatic relations, impressed by humanity's defeat of the seemingly invincible Craxian Empire. Some sought protection, others technology exchange, but all recognized that humans were a force to be respected. "They're saying you'll be promoted to Admiral soon," Jackson commented. Chen smiled slightly. "Just rumors. Besides, I prefer being out there among the stars rather than behind a desk." Speaking of which, Jackson gestured to where Dr. Rice was approaching, carrying a data tablet. "Captain Chen," Dr. Rice greeted her. "I have something I think you'll find interesting." She handed over the tablet displaying a star chart with a region highlighted far beyond Earth's explored space. "We've detected unusual energy signatures," Dr. Rice explained. "Similar to Craxian technology, but different, more advanced." Chen studied the data, her mind already calculating possibilities. The Craxians were running from something. "That's our theory," Dr. Rice nodded. "Their aggressive expansion wasn't just about conquest. It was about building a buffer zone." "Against what?" Jackson asked. "That's what we need to find out," Chen replied, handing the tablet back to Dr. Reyes. "And I believe I know which ship will be sent to investigate." Through the viewport, the first of the new Sparrow vessels caught the light of Earth's sun, its advanced hull gleaming. No longer disguised as junk heaps, they were a testament to human ingenuity and adaptability. "The Craxians made a fundamental mistake," Chen said thoughtfully. "They assumed that because we looked weak, we were weak. A mistake their successors won't make," Jackson noted. Chen nodded, her eyes fixed on the stars. "Which means we'll need to be even more creative next time." As if on cue, her communications device signaled. Admiral Voss was calling with new orders. The universe had become a more complicated place since humanity had proven itself. But Captain Chen wouldn't have it any other way. Earth had found its place among the stars, not through overwhelming force, but through the uniquely human traits of innovation, determination, and the ability to appear harmless until the perfect moment to strike. The age of human expansion had truly begun.